Why is this movie so important to today's audiences?
Well, I think it's it's a family film, and I think it sort of explores mystery, and it has a spooky background, and there's a monster in it.
But enough of a draw for me, honestly.
Well, yeah, there you go. But the other thing about it is it also has like little life lessons.
Right? We have 2 summers in a row of great box office. Movies are back. Amen? Yeah!
Hey there, friends. Let's talk about the newest fall monster movie, Monster Summer. This movie is directed by Beyond Wizards of Waverly Place's David Henrie and stars Mason Thames from Black Phone and, of course, Mel Gibson, plus an adorable, quirky, fun cast of kids. I had such a wonderful opportunity to not only go to the premiere of this film at the Directors Guild of America, but I also got to spend a weekend at Knott's Berry Farm with this cast, getting to know them and really getting to know this story intimately. Finding out that this was a film that they had filmed during the pandemic and it's only just now being released. When you see these kids on screen, they look like babies versus how I interviewed them now, who are still babies, but now adolescents and teens, and you can really see the maturity level of these actors have grown from where they started when they were filming to where they are now. But it's so exciting to now get to see this film come to fruition, and you could see in all of the cast members that excitement and that pure joy of not knowing when we were going to get there, but now here we are. There were a lot of things in this movie that I personally would have liked to see more of, but overall, I think that this was a really fun script. The beginning, it did feel like there were parts of the script that were clearly taken out, and I feel like a lot of things were rushed or jumped or just go along for the ride and hope that it kind of settles itself. And I do feel like the first act very much felt like that. They were giving away a lot really quickly because they had to, because a lot of things were clearly taken out of the script or characters were a little diminished or diluted to where you just kind of had to go along for the ride. But I will say the second act, the end of the second act into the third act, truly fun. That's where I really felt like, okay, now this is where we are. This is a great movie and it all makes sense. Everything that you kind of went through before. I loved Noah's character. I love the lead boy's relationship with Mel Gibson. I will say, going into this film, I didn't get a screener for this one, so I was watching it fresh versus all of my friends who did get screeners for this film and were giving me a lot of context and were really excited for me to watch this, because I will be honest with you guys, I am not a very religious person. And so when I see particular cast members together and production houses, I get nervous that I'm gonna kind of end up watching a very hyper religious or subtextual or subliminal messaging kind of a movie. And it's not. This is just a really fun, there is one thing that I think the monster represents. It doesn't have to, you don't have to go that far, but I personally believe that there was a little bit of messaging in there. And that just could be just my interpretation of this film, and that's perfectly fine. But it's just a really fun and involved and quirky monster film. It's a coming of age film about a bunch of kids who need to, try to go out there to trust your friends. I think that's a really big lesson is believing your friends and believing that your friends would never hurt you or never put you into danger, but just trusting in the friendship that you guys have built. I think exploring is a really good one, and being open to life and exploring in childhood. And there's just so much nostalgia in this film from those ideas of just having a summer with friends, a summer adventure with friends, all the way up to, honestly, the cameos and the supporting cast. There's such a big nostalgia from The Sandlot to the feel of the Goonies. It's just all there. This is a very heartwarming film, and it feels like where Megalopolis, my last review, it felt like someone just made a movie for themselves and didn't care about what anyone else thought. They just kind of threw everything in the pan. I feel like this one has a lot of heart, and it really took the time from Cornelius's writing, the writer, drawing himself and really seeing himself in every single one of these characters. You feel that in the writing of this. You feel that in the emotional stakes of these characters, especially in Mel Gibson's character. My God. I love that David Henrie, when he walked out on stage at the DGA, he made it very clear that we were allowed to talk in this film. He encouraged it. He wanted us to laugh, to giggle, to scream, to play, to talk, to enjoy this film. And that's really wonderful that you get to actually experience a film as if you were at home in your pajamas. It kind of builds that, again, that friendship vibe that I feel like is all over this film. It's a community. He really wants to build a community with this film in particular. And when we started talking and learning about Mel Gibson's character, this old detective, this retired detective's backstory about why he is this curmudgeon out in the woods, oh my God. I was like, damn, Cornelius. I was like, Cornelius, what are you doing? Are you good? It's so raw and visceral, and the way that Mel Gibson plays that particular scene is so heartbreaking. And so you have these kids and this monster that is very jovial and silly and quirky, because you gotta just go for the ride. They make it very clear what the monster is very early on. And so you're like, oh, okay, we're just dropping that? Okay, cool. But then when they get to the meat and to the heart and to the realism of these people, it's a lot. There are so many high notes in this film that I think are so exciting. I will say, before I get too far into this, what I thought the subliminal messaging was, that's all my non-spoiler review. Just getting quickly into, because I think this is going to switch. My spoiler review is going to go a lot quicker than the non-spoiler review. The big monster of this movie is a witch who is sucking the souls from children. And they are doing that in order to preserve their longevity because it's yummy. That's just what they do. So when Noah, Mason Thames' character comes and is like, hey, I need help from a detective. I need some advice. I need some wisdom on how I can catch this witch. Eventually down the line, we learn, not that Mel Gibson's character's son was taken by a witch, but that he has a lot of emotional connection to the loss of children, because he tells a story about how he was changing his tire. He was on the side of the road fixing his tire, and his son's in the back seat just blowing bubbles. And a motorcyclist drives up and says, hey, do you need any help with that? And Mel Gibson's a man's man. He's like, no, I got this. Don't worry about it. Thank you so much, though. And the motorcycle drives off. But then I guess the motorcyclist turns back around, and within the blink of an eye, grabs his son, throws him on the motorcycle, and drives away. And now Mel Gibson's character is freaking out. He jumps in the car and is trying to tail after him on 3 tires, sparks going everywhere. And unfortunately, he spins out and hits a tree or something, or something on the highway. And the last image he sees is his son rounding a corner. And that was the last time he ever saw his 3-year-old son. And I was like, oh, it was so painful to watch and acknowledge and know, and I was just, ugh. But it's movies like that where you think it's just like a soft-hearted monster Goonies fun movie, and then you have something really raw and visceral, and it's just a reminder that, yes, these are actors, but that's a real person who went through trauma and emotion, and it's just, ugh, this movie, man, I like this one. I did. I will say there are certain characters, like Lila's character. I wish she played like the heartthrob for half a second. I could tell in my soul that there was more to her character, and she was supposed to be in this movie more, but for whatever reason, budgetary, what have you, her character was limited, and I wish it wasn't, because I could see that being more. There was just a lot. I feel like the archetypes of these children got very archetypal. That's my big thing, is I wish the characters would have been fleshed out more than just Noah's or Mason Thames' character and Mel Gibson's. I think they truly were the stars of this show, and the other kids kind of just played flavoring or additive, but I digress. This movie is out October 4th. Please go watch it. It is so fun. And let me know what your thoughts. Oh, I'm so sorry. Before I go, I do want to say the messaging that I thought that it was, just because with that story of Mel Gibson and with the witch taking the souls of children, I thought it was we gotta protect our kids from these monsters. Thought it might have been, pedophile, but I don't know. I don't know. That's what I was feeling. I feel it was very subliminal messaging of, we have to protect our children from the monsters of the world. And it is. It very much is. They even say that in the movie. They say that in the movie, but I don't know. I think it hit it on the head just a little bit too much. And the witches and the monsters became less mythological and more real. Yeah, and I think that story, Mel Gibson's story, kind of pushed it over the edge. But I digress. I still love this movie. I liked it, but that's just what I got from the subliminal messaging. That being said, make sure that you guys like, follow, subscribe. Let me know if you're going to watch this film. Let me know what your favorite monster movie is. And I will see you guys for the next video.